Oakland Elementary, referred to by many as the jewel of the south end of Royal Oak, Michigan, now celebrating its 100th anniversary. Oakland has seen a lot. From 20 presidential elections to a global pandemic, the brick and mortar holds many memories. Let's start where any good story should start, at the beginning of Oakland Elementary, or as it was known when it was built, Oakland School.
So Oakland School, I know, was part of a farm back in the 20s. So it was part of Royal Oak Township at the time and part of the Madison School District. So in 1923, the property was purchased from the farmer by Madison Schools to build an elementary school on the site. A very small building to start with. It was just a 4-classroom building, so it was 2 floors. It had bathrooms on both floors. It had 4 classrooms, a library, an office area, no kind of gym, no auditorium. Very small school. I think there was only maybe a little over 100 kids in the school at the time. Frederick Madison was the architect of the building. He designed a lot of buildings around Royal Oak. His office was in Royal Oak. He designed, among other buildings, he designed the post office. He designed the building that's currently the middle school, which was the original high school. He also designed the First United Methodist Church. He designed the Washington Square building and the Royal Oak Theater, which is part of that. So he was kind of, I think, probably the most prominent Royal Oak architect in the 20s. In the 20s, schools were designed a very eclectic kind of style. Some were Gothic, some were kind of Romanesque, and this one was kind of based on kind of medieval architecture. So it has a lot of what's called crenellation at the top of it, which looks like a place to shoot arrows through, which is kind of castle-like. So it has a very kind of a castle feel to it. It's got towers on the corners that feel like a castle, and it's also got some really nice stonework at the entrance. It had been part of Madison School since it was built in 24, but in 1942, voters in Madison voted to sell this to Royal Oak School District. So this became then part of the Royal Oak School District instead of Madison Schools.
Now that you have the history on the building, let's talk about Oakland's real history. What better way to do that but through the people who have walked through the doors countless times? From students to staff to parents, these are the stories that truly show Oakland's rich history.
Well, Oakland is sort of a small but mighty school here in Royal Oak. It's one of the smaller ones in the district, and I think it's very family focused. A lot of the families here are parents that went to Oakland. They bring their kids back here. It's pretty tight knit. Everyone knows each other. The families keep coming back. So I love that family focus here. It's really kind of a cool thing that I love about Oakland, and that I think keeps families coming back here. I love it here. I've really enjoyed it. Actually, I have 3 teenagers, and they come and visit my classroom and see my kids just because they hear so much about my students, and my students become kind of part of my family as well. So my kids and my family at home hear so much about Oakland that they love coming in, reading to my class, playing with my class. It just makes my heart really happy. So I love this place. This is an amazing, really special community, and it's really neat to see the way that all of the families, all the staff here are so invested in building this really cool little space together. So Oakland's really something special.
So Oakland was my very first teaching job. So one thing I can always say about Oakland is it was a family. So not just the community itself, but the teaching staff. Coming in as a brand new teacher, there was a lot of teachers to just have that mentorship. They were always taking me under their wing, and there was a lot of expertise in this building. And so that's what I would say, family.
Yeah, I would agree. It was very dynamic. Back in those days, we had a lot of family support. There was a grandparents program here, a lot of volunteers coming in. Staff worked very well together. Chris and I came in around the same time, and we taught together for many years, and we team taught and we switched. Once Lisa came on, she came in and we just, rotating students, and so we got to know all the family, and it was just a really good time, great experience.
I think this was also the first building that I ever taught in. And both Jack and I are products of Royal Oak schools, so like it was just really amazing to be able to teach in the same district that you went to school in. So I think there's a special place in my heart for here because it was the first place that I taught at. But great parent community, the kids were great, there's just a lot of great memories.
And going on what you said, we were both products of Royal Oak, and when I first got a job teaching here, Oakland, I'm like, Oakland, I've never heard of that school before. Come down, it was like a hidden gem.
That's
but
what we always read. It was like, oh my God.
at the time when we started, I think there were 18 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, 2 high schools. So, and it was very much just a walking, neighborhood, and kids would walk to school every day, walk home every day. People would watch out for each other.
Absolutely.
It's great.
And as the district was downsizing, that was when I happened to be hired in. That was the year, and our community just came out to support Oakland Elementary as the most southern school in the district, that it was slated to close, and it ended up staying open.
Right, we had a really
because of
strong
that.
parent group
Yeah.
that really fought that because we were slated to close along with Franklin, and that would have eliminated both schools on the south end, and they were like, nope. I think too, like, just making me the teacher that I was for all the years that I taught, you had different things that you might have had to deal with, whether it's behaviors or different things, and just made me a really strong teacher that, it carried through my whole career, I feel like. It's amazing, it looks great. It's just so different, like, to even recognize where my classroom was downstairs. Now it looks beautiful. You still feel like that, pulling into the parking lot, it was like, oh my gosh, this is where I park.
The stairwell still has the same smell.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as it changes, there's certain things that
Exactly.
have stayed the same.
Yeah, and
Feel
I
like you're home.
taught in this classroom for many years, and it's like you said, it's like coming home. It's being here. Chris and I were here for the 75th anniversary. We were teaching here, and we, thought it was great then, and now coming in and seeing the additions and improvements and stuff, it's
still a hidden
amazing.
gem.
Yeah.
It's still the hidden gem.
It was interesting to learn, associate with fellow students. A lot of them were my friends in the residential area here, and getting to know a lot of the great teachers that were here.
Prior to volunteering in the preschool, I did volunteer in the school. I helped in the so-called media center at the time, just filing library books, and I volunteered in classrooms for a while. But the 2 ladies who were doing the preschool, volunteering in the preschool, decided they had had their time. So I stepped in for 2 years with Sandy Yerke. So there was the 2 of us. Paul was one of my students at the time.
Yeah, it was cool. As a student here, it was definitely a community. Like, you knew where everyone lived. Everyone always made plans. You played together, but you also learned together. You made your friendships. This is where you had your first best friend, your first heartbreak. You had great teachers that were always engaged. Oakland was a great place to learn, and I learned a ton. I like to think it was the foundation of what built me. But it was more than just an educational foundation. It was a social foundation. I'm here now celebrating 100 years. I've been out of the school for almost 30 years. I don't, unfortunately, don't live in the community anymore, but I still came back and made it a point because of what Oakland gave to me. And I want to give back. And I want to give to the next generation and the next whatever it is. So because of what Oakland instilled in me, I'm able to be successful.
Prior to coming to Oakland, I was a 20-year high school guy. I taught and had a variety of roles, including assistant principal at the high school, both at Don Darrow and at Royal Oak High School. And never in a million years would have thought that I would have ended up at an elementary. The opportunity presented itself, and there were times while I was at the high school, and I loved it, that I really had a little itch where I wish I would have met some kids and families earlier, because sometimes you'd have kids in high school that you're never going to give up on them, but you sense that they're in a really tough spot and you're kind of battling against the waves. And I know that the earlier we can do interventions on kids, the more success they're likely to have. So coming to Oakland was a chance to do that. That said, I knew almost nothing about elementary when I got here, but the people that were already here really made it better for me, helped me, taught me a ton, and that allowed me to grow. It allowed me to look at education from an entirely different perspective, and I'm forever thankful for the opportunity, and more than anything for the people that kind of helped me along the way. I mean, there's a few times that I was made a spectacle of for the fun for the kids. I had a time when I was dressed in a pink bunny suit. I got slimed, I got a pie in the face. But I would say more than anything, my favorite times were just kind of the little moments that happened. I loved just connecting with the kids throughout the day. I loved working with teachers and with families to try to solve problems. It made me proud every day to come to work here. Matter of fact, I didn't even call it coming to work. I always talked about coming to school. And we had a good group of people that, whether it was the teachers or the parents or the kids, and especially the teachers and the parents, to me always seemed to be focused on the right things. They cared about making lives better for kids. They created a culture which supported that, and it was really a good place to be, and I'm thankful for my time here.
Oh, it was great, honestly. My family had been in Royal Oak schools for some time before I got here, so I kind of knew of a lot of the teachers at the time there, but every year it was fun. You know, I had a solid group of friends and everything. Teachers were great, faculty was great. It was overall a really great experience. As far as teachers, Mrs. Farber was a big one. She had my older brother, didn't have my sister though, so it was like the two bookends she got, and she just, I mean, she probably really helped shape me into the woman I am today, just with all the things I learned from her class, just everything from first grade, having her, like, she was an awesome teacher. She really, really cared about the students, and you could see it even back as a kid. You could tell, like, she cared. Probably the reason I am the way I am today is because of Oakland. All of the teachers were super, super kind, really just wanting you to do your best. You know, anytime there were issues, they would be willing to sit down with you, talk with you, figure out why you're struggling, what can we do together to get you where you want to be. And so a lot of that kind of helped, you know, like lay the foundation of who I was as a student, which being in academics has always been huge for me. And so a lot of that, I think, came from just the care and attention that the teachers gave back then to me. I mean, they're a big reason why I was able to go into engineering as a field like I did today. So definitely a huge factor.
Well, first, it's such a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-career opportunity to have one of your schools turn 100 years old. It's bigger than just the school district. It involves everyone in the area. So many of our families attended this school, now have children and grandchildren there. So it is a very special time for us, and we're just very happy to be a part of this celebration. So in 1924, I'm sure schools looked very, very different than they do today. We know many of them were one-room schoolhouses, very limited offerings in math and reading. They did some geography and some sciences, but mainly just the basics, and that's so different from what we offer our students today. We also know that schools were reflective of the society at the time. Most teachers were female teachers. Now we have male and female teachers with our students leading our schools. So we believe schools look very different than they did 100 years ago. But what hasn't changed is that schools are the central part of the community. They were then in 1924, and they still are today here in Royal Oak and with Royal Oak schools.
The main thing that I want to emphasize is that it was a really warm and welcoming community. It was all about the people. We had the best parents and the best students, and of course the staff was pretty good too. But the families were down to earth, they were warm, and they were always there to try to help out. whether it was to volunteer in the classroom or to go on field trips. And every morning when I would go outside to pick up the students, almost all the parents would be there before, and it was really nice to get to know so many of them. It's had such a big impact on me. First, I've made a lot of lifelong friends from the adults, the staff members, who some of my very good friends to this day I met here over the 23 years. And I also had contact with so many amazing parents and students who I still keep in touch with. I'd say that nothing compares to the students in this community and the parents. And over the years, as I had my own kids and they went to school, I noticed that I always was comparing them to the Oakland community. And you can't even compare to how great people are here. You have no idea how great it is that you are at a school that's been here for 100 years and it's in good condition. And I know you still have lots of great people here like they did when I was teaching. So feel very fortunate that you're part of this community.
One unique thing that I think exists about our culture is that everybody really just kind of is connected and they care about each other, and they have a sincere concern for how people's day is going and how people's weekend went. I just think the culture is just a really caring, atmosphere that, where people truly are concerned and care about each other. I think that, when you work at Oakland, it's always just more than working at Oakland. It's, being part of, a group that you're connected to in ways that's not just, I come in and I do my job and then I go home. This celebration, I think, is not just about time, 100 years. Wow, 100 years has passed. It's about the thousands of kids and families that have, been connected to this place and, made it better, and Oakland made their lives better. And it's just, it's more about celebrating the people and, the way we've grown and we've become this, wonderful little culture here in the south end of Royal Oak.
I love going to Oakland Elementary because all the new people that come here and all the teachers.
I like going to Oakland Elementary because when you're with the teachers, you're safe and they provide good education. I love going to Oakland Elementary because I get to do service squad. I can help people out, and there's a lot of amazing teachers.
I love going to Oakland Elementary because it is a very safe environment and it is fun to learn at the school.
I love going to Oakland Elementary because the staff is great. I have a lot of fun here and a lot of my friends go here, so I can have an enjoyable time.
I think it's pretty cool that the school has been on for 100 years.
It's a little cool, but it's also a little scary because everyone's been around for a while. And
I think it's really cool that they're turning 100, and I'm excited to just be here when it turns 100.
I'm surprised that the school's been around for 100 years. My grandma used to go to this school actually, so that's pretty cool.
I think that just shows that Oakland is it's like a really strong school. I think it's really cool that it's turning 100 because it just really shows that nobody is going to give up on the school.
She is right. No one will give up on this school as long as Oakland keeps being the wonderful place that it is today. This video is dedicated to the lasting legacy of Oakland's past, present, and future.